Hey, you're in your 20s, and the biggest challenge that you have in your 20s actually is how to listen. It's such a simple thing, and yet in our 20s, I remember it was such a big challenge for me. Why? Because, well, I was in that spate of youthful exuberance, impatience, trying to prove to myself that I am there at it, can do it, whatever you might imagine. And in that process, we tend to become very, very poor listeners. Now, how do you become an awesome listener? How does your listening allow you to actually discover oceans of wisdom in the minds of people who are talking to you? Well then, let's talk about it. Welcome back. Welcome back to the musings of an old maverick. Welcome back to the archives of my life. Well now, this particular vlog is going to be a very, very unusual one, like I said before. You know why? Because the concept of listening, my version, is very, very different from any version you would have probably heard by now, or till now. Why? Because it comes right out of the archives of my life, my experiential understanding of what listening is all about and how to actually listen. And the best way to understand what listening really is all about is to compare it with reading. Can you believe it? Well, there are three ways to read a book, just as there are three ways to listen. Let's go step by step. Way one, you could be one of those voracious readers who just pick up a book, scan through the paragraphs, scan through sentences, scan through pages, pick up whatever they can of a story, and then chuck the book away in 3 days and pick up another one. In the same way, you could be the listening in the same way. You could be just probably keeping your eyes shut, keeping your ears open, listening to whatever you said, not really bothering whether it is of value to you or not, just wanting to get over with the topic that is being spoken to you about. Now, that is just like it's not very deep reading, it's neither very deep listening. So there's really nothing much you can actually get out of listening like this. The second way to listen is the second way to read. That is, you take up a book, and you actually start reading paragraphs, looking at the words, see how it's been put together, try to understand what the author is trying to tell you, and therefore the story starts unfolding. And as you flow with the story, you may take about a week to finish the book, and that's it. So that is sometimes how we listen. We listen to the speaker, we are trying to flow with what the speaker is saying. If the interest catches us, it's good and fair enough. If it doesn't, we just close our minds to it. Just like if you're reading a book, if it doesn't sound interesting, you'll probably ditch it halfway through and pick up another one. Now, there's a third way of listening. The most amazing way of listening is just like the third way of reading. You pick up a book and you step into a time machine. And that is the most fascinating way of reading a book. Because when you open a book, you know for one thing for sure that you are stepping into an ecosystem or a world that may be 10 years old, 20 years old, a century old, maybe a few centuries old. And you are conscious of the fact that from the very first word, the very first sentence, the very first chapter, you are going to experience the very mind of the author by stepping into his world, whichever century that is. You are going to get dissolved into an ecosystem that belongs to the author. And as you get so deep into the book, there is a mind movie that will start playing. Because we always think in pictures, we don't think in words. So as we keep reading, a mind movie forms. The same mind movie that was formed in the mind of the author when the author wrote this book. And as you connect with that mind movie, you connect with everything that you read in between the lines, not just the lines. And that is deep reading. Now imagine if you had to listen. Listen not just what the speaker is saying. Listen to understand from where is that thought generating. Why is he expressing or she expressing what he or she is expressing? What is the trigger? What is the spark? Where is it coming from? And the moment you reach that source, here's the fascinating thing. The moment you reach that source, you will stumble into a huge ocean of wisdom within the mind of the speaker. And that is the most astounding way of listening. Try it. That's exactly how I've listened all these decades. Well then, this is Anand Nair, signing off for now, and I'm going to see you soon, very soon. Till then, hey, you celebrate life. Celebrate being you.